My girlfriend's ex-boyfriend returned to the country and insisted I take her to his welcome dinner. At the banquet, someone asked my girlfriend, "Willow, is there anyone here you like?" She bit her lip and smiled lightly, then replied with a single word, "Yes." But when she said it, her gaze wasn't on me. It was on her ex Makoto. Just when everyone expected me to sit there quietly like some coward, I stood up and said clearly, loudly, "You really are a bitch." Willow had told me that some of her friends were back from abroad and asked me to drive her to a welcome-back party. When we arrived, I realized it was actually a party to welcome her ex-boyfriend. He was wearing a gray coat and a warm-toned Azid scarf that made him look calm and collected. I saw her eyes light up the moment she saw him. At dinner, the gossip-loving Sophia leaned forward and asked, "Makoto, you've been abroad for years. Do you have a girlfriend now?" He hesitated slightly, then answered in a quiet, bitter tone, "The deepest love I've ever experienced. Nothing else compares." After saying this, he glanced at Willow, then looked down and gave a faint smile. I furrowed my brows and reached to put my arm around Willow's shoulders. But she subtly pushed me away and said calmly, "I'm going to the bathroom." My throat felt dry. What did that mean? Did she not want to appear close to me in front of her ex? Or was it something more? The atmosphere was warming up. A little later, Makoto smiled and came over to add me on social media. He said, "Willow's mentioned you before. You're a good guy." I was speechless. I don't usually check my girlfriend's phone, but his words suggested they'd never lost contact. I clenched my fists and frowned, glancing toward Willow. Our eyes met for a second, but I knew deep down she wasn't really looking at me. Makoto casually draped his arm around my shoulder and began chatting about their college days. For a moment, I wondered if I was overthinking. Maybe they were just classmates. While she was still in the bathroom, I opened Makoto's social media profile. His profile picture was of him by the sea. My heart skipped. I quickly opened Willow's profile, same scenery, same location. Obviously a couple's photo. Dan. I overheard a conversation among Willow's close friends. Sophia said not to start anything, but Willow, "Makoto is so kind and stable. He knows how to treat people. You've known him forever. Unlike Georgie's chauvinistic and selfish. He won't even hand over his bank card. Our dream as women is to marry someone who actually takes care of us, right?" Alicia chimed in. "And Makoto hasn't dated anyone in the last 3 years. Abroad? Obviously, he's been waiting for you. Even offered to pay for tonight. Look at Georgie's too busy eating to even notice." Maria added, "I know what I'm talking about too. When we were abroad, Makoto would stare at your photos, all the time frowning, and tell me not to say anything. He didn't want to disturb your life. He just wanted you to be happy. It hurt to see him like that. For years of relationship, there's no way that just ends." She handed Willow a bag. "This is what he bought for you while he was abroad. He brought it when George wasn't around. They didn't know the bathroom in the private room wasn't soundproof. When I came out, they glanced at each other and changed the topic. I sat down and just watched. Makoto sang one sad love song after another. When he sang one particular song about being a guest, his eyes stayed locked on Willow. "Thank you for inviting me to witness your love," he said. The fleeting sadness in his eyes didn't escape me. Willow scrambled for a drink, clearly rattled. I hid in the corner and quietly laughed to myself. It had been years since I saw a drama this rich. Later, someone suggested playing games. The first few rounds were okay, but soon the questions started feeling deliberate. Willow kept losing. One question: "Have you ever regretted a breakup?" She hesitated and looked at me awkwardly. I kept my smile. She stammered, No. I noticed Makoto's hand tremble slightly as he held his glass, but she still caught the emotion in his eyes. Then came the last question: "Is there anyone here you like?" She replied, just one word, "Yes." But again, her eyes weren't on me. They were fixed on Makoto. It felt like she was trying to make up for the earlier answer. I nodded, stood up and said slowly, "You really are a bitch." I still hadn't left, but they were exchanging flirtatious glances right in front of me. I'm not some tragic hero from a melodrama. Why should I be the bigger person? What does it even mean to be magnanimous? Is that just a nice word for being spineless while pretending you're above the pain? If I even hesitated for a second. I was disrespecting myself. Immediately slapped Willow across the face and said, "You're a pile of shit." Then I stood up, wiped my hands, and scanned the room. I really don't get the brainwaves of you single-celled creatures. You're trying to match up someone who already has a boyfriend with her ex acting all fancy, like you're someone special. Can't you do something decent for once? I looked at Sophia and said, "Yeah, I'm a big macho man. What are you going to do about it? I'm not handing over my paycheck card. What's it got to do with you? You don't know how? To be a decent human, but you're always scheming how to control others, right? We're even sorting trash now, so do yourself a favor and go where you belong, all right?" Then, turning to Alicia, I smiled and said, "Don't worry, I just love to eat. Got a big appetite. Next time, go attend your funeral banquet. Sit at the kids' table and celebrate why someone so young won't see the next day's sun. Oh wait, it's because their tongue's too long, and Yama's too kind to let them wander around in the human world." Finally, to Maria, I said, "Singing off-key just means you're tone-deaf but speaking out of tune. Maybe your brain isn't working properly. You love running errands for others so much. Not becoming a courier is such a waste of your talent." Then I turned to Willow and said, "Just break up already. Don't waste my time." Sophia's face turned pale with rage, and she yelled, "What are you barking for, you dog?" I smiled faintly and said, "First time I've seen so much shit in one place. I'm just too excited." As I was about to leave, Makoto grabbed my arm and tried to smooth things over. "Bro, Willow and I really don't have anything going on. Don't act like this. We haven't seen each other in so long. We just wanted to catch up. If I upset you, I'll leave right now." Asked coldly, "Stop with the bullshit." "No, I'm upset, and you still came. What's your game plan?" Makoto turned pale when he heard this and apologized. "I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I just... With that, he looked at Willow with guilt all over his face. I yanked him by the collar and said, "I'm the one asking you questions. What are you looking at her for? Does her face have the answer?" Willow shot up like someone stepped on her tail, biting her lip and saying, "George, why are you bullying people like this? What, do you think Makoto's easy to pick on?" Going too far. The others started attacking me. Alicia said, "Seriously, I've got no words for you. Should have never agreed when you chased after Willow." "Who do you think you are?" Sophia chimed in. "Yeah, we like Makoto way more. Someone like you is destined to be lonely forever." Maria snorted and said, "If you're not happy, just call the cops. Makoto's more gentle and magnanimous than you. You're just jealous." I gave a contemptuous smile and looked at everyone. "Alicia, if you can't speak, go learn sign language. Want me to teach you? Did Willow call your mom? Does it matter if she agrees or not? Does she need to report to you every time she pees? Sophia, you're like a cockroach. Sneezing, spraying shit everywhere with your mouth. If you know I'm right, write it down. I'm not the type to die alone, so you don't need to worry about me. What I'm worried about is whether you can handle the consequences of saying that kind of crap without getting your ass kicked. Maria, you know so much about his character, are you sure? You've spent so much time with him that you've experienced it firsthand. The world is big, but not as big as the hole in your brain. And by the way, I can't call the cops. I'd need animal control to catch trash like you. Promise me next time, at least try to pretend to be human. Just make it look a little more convincing." Finally, I turned to Willow, who looked stunned and smiled faintly. "Willow, your heart's higher than the sky? So what, you're trying to play both sides, huh? Who do you think you are?" With that, I turned and walked off, but Willow followed me out. The pitiful expression on her face, she said, "George, it's all my fault. Everyone just said Maria and Makoto. Hadn't seen each other in so long since they came back from abroad, so they all decided to get together. I didn't expect it to turn out like this. I'm sorry. Can you not be mad?" She wiped her damp hair away, her beautiful face filled with guilt. I asked, "Then what did that look mean when you were staring at him earlier?" Willow paused for a few seconds, then said, "Maybe it's just because we hadn't seen each other for so long. After all, we're still in the same circle." I didn't want things to get too awkward. I laughed. "Willow, the background picture on your phone, that's a couple photo, right?" Willow froze, quickly glanced at Makoto, who had just come out, and said, "It's not what you think. Just forgot to change it." She opened her phone and quickly switched the background to a photo of us together. I stared at her for a few seconds. She nervously lowered her head and mumbled, "George, I've been broken up with him for 3 years. I really have no feelings for him anymore. Do you believe me? Can we not break up? Let's go home. I'm George. When I say it's over, it's over." But before I could speak, Makoto ran up to me. He apologized sincerely. "It's all my fault. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have come and interrupted your happiness. I just wanted to see her one more time." I was speechless. I asked, "So, should I just let you have your way?" His eyes were frantic. He coughed a couple of times and said, I didn't mean it like that. Sorry, I'll leave now." "Don't fight because of me," Makoto said. But just as he turned around, he nearly collapsed. "What?" Willow hurriedly grabbed his arm to support him and said with concern, "Why did you drink so much? Don't you know you're allergic to alcohol?" Her voice was filled with worry. Makoto, leaning on her, looked into her eyes with deep affection and said, "I was just so happy I didn't even realize." I crossed my arms and silently watched them. Willow bit her lip and turned to me, explaining, "George Makoto's allergic to alcohol, could be in danger if he drinks too much. Can I take him home?" I was confused and asked, "What do you think, Willow?" The next moment Makoto muttered, "It's so itchy," pulling at his collar as the skin on his neck turned bright red. Willow's eyes filled with panic. "Don't scratch. You'll make it worse," she said gently. I stared at her and asked, "Willow, are you sure you want to go with him?" She grabbed my arm and pouted, "George, I'll come back to you. After I take him home, he might need to go to the hospital." I replied, "Okay." I walked past them, but out of the corner of my eye, I saw the smugness flash across Makoto's face. Later that night, I saw his WeChat Moments post. "On this cold night, I'm glad you're here." The photo was of a woman's back, standing. In the kitchen, of course, it was Willow. I met Willow through work. She had a gentle personality, stunning looks, and most importantly, an incredible figure. To be blunt, I was initially just after her body, so I went all in chasing her. Through a series of accidental encounters and romantic gestures, I won her over. It's been a year now. I knew she once had a boyfriend of 4 years, but that was history. She told me he'd gone abroad and wouldn't be coming back, so I never bothered to dig deeper. Now, thinking back, their breakup wasn't due to a lack of love, but because of the distance. When I recalled Makoto's smug post, my nails dug into my palms. I, George, have always been a straightforward man. If I have a grudge, I deal with it head-on. But I didn't expect this ex to be so underhanded. This was hitting my blind spot. Then Willow texted me, "Babe, it's raining tonight. I bet you forgot your umbrella. I'll pick you up after work, and we can go to your place. Okay?" I was about to say no when my team leader entered the office with a new recruit. I looked up and there he was, Makoto. Things were getting interesting. I deleted the reply I'd been typing and sent her just one word. "Okay." I wanted to see what game he was playing. After introductions, Makoto walked over with a warm smile and said, "George, what a coincidence. I look forward to working with you." Same calm, friendly tone, but I knew better. This wasn't a coincidence. It meant one thing: he and Willow had been in contact the whole time. How long had it been going on? I stared at Willow's profile picture, trying to remember. At the team's welcome dinner, Makoto didn't drink. When I went to the bathroom, I bumped into him. He smiled as he washed his hands and said, "Sorry, George. Willow came over to my place yesterday. You're not mad, are you?" His so-called apology couldn't hide the smugness in his voice. I laughed. Why would I be mad? I'm not a trash can. I don't collect other people's garbage. His smile faltered, but he quickly recovered. As he passed by, he muttered, faintly, "I was with her for 4 years. You think 1 year compares?" I didn't get his logic. Who the hell wants to fight over trash? "If I throw something out, I'll just find something better. Simple," he continued. "If something happens to me, she'll come to me first. George, be smart. Don't compete with me." I burst out laughing. "You really are a trash can." "Huh, You're good at packing things. You look like a QR code. No one even knows what you are until they scan you." Makoto's face turned pale with rage. After dinner, a heavy downpour started. I saw Willow standing outside with an umbrella. When she spotted me, she smiled and started walking over. But when Makoto came out behind me, she paused. Deliberately avoiding eye contact with him, she walked straight to my side, slipped her hand into mine, held out the umbrella and said, "George, let's go." I didn't take it. Instead, I pulled out my own umbrella. "I brought mine," I said calmly. She froze, stunned by my reaction. Still, she didn't get upset. She spoke gently. "George is always so thoughtful. With rain this heavy, one umbrella wouldn't be enough. We'd both get soaked." A colleague passing by noticed. "Makoto didn't bring an umbrella?" they asked. He replied with a quiet At that moment, thunder cracked across the sky. Makoto sighed and said, "Really unlucky. Looks like I'll have to get soaked." I saw Willow's hand tighten on the handle of the umbrella. Pretending not to notice, I simply said, "Let's go," replied softly. Her gaze drifting toward the heavy rain as she muttered, "This rain might last all night." I understood what she meant. She was worried about Makoto, who didn't have an umbrella, couldn't get a taxi. The rain kept pouring down. Without changing my expression, I opened my umbrella and walked into the rain. In my peripheral vision, I saw Makoto frown, looking at Willow with a pitiful expression. Soon enough, Willow's figure appeared beside me. She acted like she hadn't noticed anything, lightly saying, "Let's go, we'll head home." When we reached the subway entrance, her phone lit up, her eyes darkened, her face full of concern. I smiled and asked, "Is your best friend looking for you?" She seemed to snap out of it and nodded absent-mindedly, though her gaze remained fixed on the rain outside. The sound of the rain felt like someone crying. I asked, "Willow, are you sure you want to go to my place now?" She replied, "Of course." I chuckled softly, then deliberately asked, "Are you worried about Makoto not having an umbrella?" She bit her lip and said, "Of course not. Don't think like that about me. I'm not in contact with him anymore." After saying that, she tried to nestle into my arms like she usually did, but I extended my arm to keep a distance and casually said, "All right, I believe you. But if I find out you're lying, Willow, it won't be a simple let's part ways nicely." She paused, looked up at me, and coldly snorted. I wouldn't. I nodded and pretended to be calm. "Fine. How about we go home separately today? The rain's too heavy. My place is far. Don't catch a cold. And we're out of supplies. It's not convenient to restock right now. Don't bother. I've got some work to do anyway. I'll be late." Her place was in the opposite direction. She hesitated for a long time, then carefully looked at me and asked, "Then should I just go home now?" I nodded. Seeing that I didn't insist, she slowly started walking away in the opposite direction, but I followed her closely. After exiting the station, I saw her quickly disappear into the rain, holding her umbrella. This was the second time she had lied to me. Then the sting on my face felt real. The blood of revenge slowly pulsed in my veins. "Willow, I gave you a chance to save face. From now on, don't blame me." As expected, I received a private message from Makoto. Said I told you if I had something, she'd show up in front of me immediately. "You lost." He quickly deleted the message. I almost crushed my phone. It wasn't that I liked Willow that much. It was the fact that someone actually dared to dump shit on my head one day. He was really asking for it. I made a call. Soon a Bentley pulled up in front of me. I got into the back seat, gave the driver an address, and as the car merged onto the main road, the woman beside me coldly snorted and said, "How did you manage to make yourself look so pathetic?" I frowned. "Stop nagging," Anna teased. "Did you have a fight with your little girlfriend?" I didn't answer. When I dated Willow, I hid my identity. I just wanted a simple relationship. Besides, my relationship with my father wasn't good, and I didn't want to bring those things into it. I closed my eyes in the car, thinking about whether I should just send them both packing or quietly teach them a lesson. But Anna wouldn't stop talking. She was driving me nuts. I snapped, "Anna, you can't find a boyfriend because you talk too much." I opened my eyes to look at her. She wasn't angry, She smiled and said, "This is how you treat your benefactor. Calling me out at night like this better? Give me a tip." I was done with her. "You're a rich lady." "Why are you so picky about a little money?" she replied in a high-pitched voice. "Not picky. I'm preparing for marriage, you know. Got to learn how to manage the household." I shuddered but pulled the topic back. "I just want to see what Makoto's pulling next. That thing I asked you to check, how's it going?" She said, "Don't worry, young Master Wong. All the information will be in your inbox in a few days." I nodded. "Especially Maria's IP address. Make sure you keep a close eye on that." Then I pulled out my phone and posted a cryptic status. "Evil spirits, stay away." Seeing I wasn't speaking, Anna leaned over and squinted at me. "What's going on? Is young Master Wong angry?" I sighed. "Angry? You'd think I'd get mad over a woman?" She rolled her eyes. "Your whole face is full of displeasure." I snapped, "Nonsense. Just thinking about how to handle this properly." She chuckled and said, "If you need help, you know where to find me." I love watching two men fight over one woman. I was speechless. When I got out of the car, Anna called me back. I turned around helplessly. "What now?" She blinked and asked about what we talked about last time. "Is that still valid?" I didn't answer and walked away. Anna texted me, "Coward." For the next few days, Willow kept texting me, trying to guilt-trip me. I deleted every single message. When she came to find me after work, I ignored her completely. I got into the car and drove away. A week later, she finally stopped me just as I was about to get in the car. She stood in front of the door and demanded, "George, what do you mean by this?" I opened the door, looked at her and said, "Don't. You know what breaking up means? We have no relationship anymore, understand? Talking to you is exhausting." Her eyes turned red and she said, "I didn't agree to it." Then she added, "I can explain." Her voice trembled as she continued, "Since that day, I haven't contacted him at all." I scoffed. "Which day?" "Out." Willow's expression flickered with embarrassment. She bit her lip and said, "The day of the heavy rain." She was really good at being vague. "But that night, even after I blocked Makoto, he still messaged me. I heard you two were still using protection when you slept together." I didn't. I was so furious I spent the whole night pounding the punching bag from a few clues. On Makoto's social media, I found his alternate account. That's when I discovered they never stopped talking. And right on cue, Makoto appeared, grabbed Willow's arm and said, "Why are you still chasing after him? Look at him renting luxury cars to impress girls. Guy like him isn't worth your time." I looked at Willow and sneered, "He's right, just look how worthless you are." Makoto was caught off guard. He hesitated for a moment and then said, "I told you George is just a scumbag. Now do you believe me?" Willow grabbed my hand and wouldn't let go. She asked, "George, is that true? Have you really moved on to someone else?" I stayed expressionless. "Hey, why do I owe you an explanation?" "Wait, what's going on in your head? You went to another man's house? And now you want to talk about this? Is this your version of loyalty?" She panicked and said, "We're just classmates." I laughed. "Yeah. I'm also classmates with the woman in that car. If you can go to your classmate's house, why can't I?" Her face twisted in pain. "George, you still love me, don't you? You're just doing this to make me jealous, right?" Makoto's face turned pale when he heard that. Mocked Willow. "Do you hear yourself?" Right then, Anna stepped out of the car, her long legs landing firmly on the ground. The moment Willow saw her, she instantly crumbled because everything about her, from looks to presence, was eclipsed. Her voice trembled. "Miss Sue?" When I got into the car, I could still hear Makoto's smug voice. "So, how's it going? Didn't I tell you? Guys like George rent luxury cars, buy fake bags, and use sweet talk to scam rich girls. Now you believe me, don't you?" I rolled up the window. Anna looked at me and asked, "You're not going to slap him, young Master Wong?" I was silent, and I said, "You hit the snake where it hurts. One strike to end it all. No comeback." She asked, "Is it worth it, going through all this trouble for them?" I didn't answer. I stared out the window, thinking about my past. When I was young, my father convinced my mother to leave her stable job to start a business. Meanwhile, I was sent to live with my uncle. My aunt hated me. I did all the housework and looked after her kids. My father sent enough money every month, but my aunt would mock me in front of everyone saying I ate too much, that the money wasn't enough with prices going up. She said the only reason they kept me was because they pitied me. I still remember. That shame. One day, she falsely accused me of stealing money. I was forced to kneel in the living room while strangers pointed fingers. I was only 8. After that, I started living on my own. But I'm the type to return every grudge, no matter how small. Later, I learned about her affair. I planned carefully, exposed everything to the village, and once the rumors spread, she couldn't show her face again. She divorced my uncle and went back to her parents, so I knew if I don't strike the most vital point, it's not worth doing at all. I said, it's not time yet. Let's wait. Anna stared at me and said, well, I'll wait for the show. I didn't respond. I just waited for the fish to bite. Willow kept calling me every day, driving me insane. But the most direct attacks came from Makoto at work. Always passive-aggressive. Always testing me. Then one day Willow got drunk at a bar with her girlfriends. Sophia called and said, George, can't you stop being so petty? We apologized. Isn't that enough? Come comfort her. She's really upset. If she keeps drinking like this, something bad will happen. In the noisy background, I heard Makoto's mocking laugh. I calmly replied, if she dies, just call the crematorium. They dropped the act. Their insults came sharp and loud. Sophia snapped, George, don't be ungrateful. Don't go too far, or you'll get what's coming to you. I played with the new watch on my wrist and sneered, Sophia, thanks for the advice. Maybe I will go too far. I heard you're getting engaged soon, right? I hung up because I knew someone was about to snap. Sure enough, the very next day, at work, David, a colleague, grabbed my arm and said, Brother Wong, did you piss someone off? I asked what's going on. He replied, well, someone posted dirt about you on the employee forum. This might be better if you went home today. I opened my phone, and right there on the homepage was a giant headline, Be careful. Of getting scammed, a con artist who rents luxury cars and buys fake bags to lure rich women, even targeting elderly ladies. The post was filled with pictures of me, shots of Anna, my car, and crystal clear photos of my father's secretary, accompanying me while I shopped for watches and suits. They even faked some transfer records. By the way, the company I work for, it's owned by my dad. I've had dinner with him a few times before, nothing major, just to make use of a few things. Makoto had written a passionate, self-righteous essay and uploaded it all. Claimed I was shameless, immoral, using sugar mommies to climb the social ladder and corrupting society's values. At the exact same moment, Willow sent me a Weibo link. George, I've misjudged you. You disgust me. I glanced at the post, already over 500 shares. What a coincidence. I immediately forwarded the link to Anna, tracked the IP, fast. Then I locked the screen and walked into the office with David, like nothing was wrong. Makoto, full of smug confidence, didn't even try to hide the satisfaction on his face. He taunted me in the break room. That was fine. I had a gift prepared just for him. As I sat down, he strutted over and said, told you you should have acted smarter. I pressed record on my phone and asked, all innocence, so all that stuff on the forum, you posted it, right? He didn't answer, still on guard, but I wasn't in a hurry. Then I opened Willow's WeChat, accidentally played a voice message. Babe, Lisan, have nothing to do with Makoto. I don't like him. He's a total simp. I don't even glance at him in his life abroad. Total mess, guys and girls both. How could I like someone like that? From the corner of my eye, I saw Makoto's hands clench, veins bulging. Thanks, Willow. That message helped me dig out all of his secrets. I sighed softly. Simp. Really lost all value, huh? He snapped. Won't be smug for long. I laughed, not sure who he was talking to. Then right on cue, my father entered the company with a group of people. He rarely visits the office, but today he brought Anna too. His expression was dark. Tension filled the room. Turned to me, waiting to see what would happen. My father immediately called for an emergency all-hands meeting. David tried to stop me. Bro, don't go in, I replied. Why not? Not only am I going in, I've got more prepared for his secretary too. I walked straight to the front row, and sat down. Anna pouted at me and shook her head. My phone buzzed. A message from her. You should have acted sooner. She thought I was too slow, that my reputation had taken too much damage. She was right. Should have struck first, but I also knew some people's darkness runs deeper than you think. A shallow strike won't break them. You have to burn the roots. Everyone has something they can't afford to lose. My job was to crush that. Makoto stood like a peacock, full of himself, chin raised high. Then my father stepped forward and spoke. I'll be direct, he said, then pointed at me. George is my son. The room fell into stunned silence. Makoto's smug face instantly collapsed. He turned pale. See? People panic. They break. If he had even one functioning brain cell, he'd have done a background check on me, though he wouldn't have found anything even if he tried. My father continued. George was also once engaged to Anna of the Sue family. What? That wasn't part of the plan. I looked at Anna. She tilted her head and gave me a sly smile. She was pretending to be my fiancée to protect my image. Suddenly, a strange emotion stirred in my chest. The entire scandal was explained away in a few simple sentences. I stepped up onto the stage just as police officers entered the room. Then I turned to Makoto, who was now trembling in his seat, and gave him a wide smile. Makoto, spreading rumors comes with consequences. Do you think this country has no laws? No justice? Under the gaze of the entire company, Makoto was escorted out by the police, pale and defeated. As for me, had more in store. I had my secretary hire a few ghostwriters to publish a controlled version of the story online to clear my name. The rest would be sent by courier to his parents, to Willow, and to Maria's families. My secretary asked, should we send it now? I shook my head, thought for a moment, and said, the story's not finished yet. Let's wait a little longer. I'd heard both of his parents were teachers. I wondered what they'd think once they learned about all the filthy things their son had done overseas. I also went to the police station to give my statement. The IP addresses used to defame me had been traced to overseas servers, but Makoto hadn't done it alone. He had help from Maria. From the moment I met them, I could tell their relationship was unusually close. Just classmates? Then why was she so deeply involved in his personal affairs? Always defending him, always nearby. If Maria had even been slightly attractive, she might have replaced Willow already. So I had Anna dig into Maria's background. And what a find. Turns out, the reason Makoto was so eager to ruin my name was because he'd been living the very same filthy lifestyle he accused me of. His reputation abroad was already in ruins. He paraded around like some successful businessman. But all he did was scam newly arrived female students, conning them for sex, money, and fake promises. One even got pregnant, ran off before taking responsibility. Eventually, karma struck. He messed with the wrong person, got caught by a gang leader, beaten, had his secrets exposed to the entire Chinese community overseas. With no place left to run, he slithered back to the country and tried reattaching himself to Willow, the ex he had once abandoned. At the police station, Makoto shouted, "George, you bastard." I shrugged and calmly replied, if I actually liked Willow that much, I would have destroyed everything long ago. But sorry, I'm not a simp. Makoto was trembling. He looked at the officers and stammered, I didn't spread those rumors. You're accusing me unfairly. Meanwhile, Maria had already broken down. She handed over everything, chat logs, voice recordings, you name it. Even if Makoto didn't post things himself, the evidence was clear. He masterminded it. I turned to her and said, Maria, weren't you the one who told me to call the cops that day? Well, here we are. I refused any mediation. Both Maria and Makoto were detained for defamation. I demanded they post a public apology online, one that wouldn't be taken down until I was satisfied. Maria lost the new job she had just gotten because of her criminal record. Makoto? He was immediately fired from my father's company. We also reserved the right to take further legal action against him. Anna asked, You could have fired them earlier. Why wait until after they posted that stuff? I smiled and replied, if I fired them earlier, they'd be entitled to compensation. It's people like him not worth a single cent. She smirked. You really are a heartless capitalist. When we got home, my father was sitting on the couch waiting for me. Son. I didn't say a word, just walked over and sat down. He reached to pull me closer, but I moved away. He paused, lowered his head and sighed. You should have told me sooner. I replied, you're always too busy. When would you have had time to care? Said softly, you're my son. How could I just let you suffer like this? I looked away. Truthfully, it had been a long time since we'd sat down and talked like this. For years, I only saw him as a tool, just someone I could use. Continued, I know you haven't forgiven me, but you're all I have. Everything I do is for you. If you're not happy, what's the point? Emotions. I always carried this cold, distant air, but when he said that, something hit me, a tightness in my chest. Then he added, I regret what happened with your mother. I miss her too. I asked you miss her. Then why didn't you visit her all these years? I couldn't hold it back anymore. My eyes welled up and I looked at him with all the anger I had buried. She was supposed to come to my parent-teacher meeting that day. But you called her to deliver some damn documents and she got into a car crash. If you hadn't dragged her out that day, she'd still be alive. My words hit him hard. He looked devastated. His eyes turned red. I'm sorry, he whispered. I gritted my teeth. Sorry won't bring her back. I left those words hanging in the air and walked away, slamming the door behind me. Things stayed quiet for a few days, until Makoto and Maria were released. Then Willow called me, for the first time in ages. She said, George, we need to talk. I asked, about what? She said, my friends want to apologize too. You? I laughed. If apologies could solve everything, why do we have a legal system? Clearly her friends had finally learned the truth about her and Makoto, and now they were scrambling to calm things down. But it was already too late. There was a long silence before Willow softly said, I'm sorry, George. It was me who hurt you. It wasn't anyone else's fault. But you also lied to me about being a rich heir. I didn't blame you for that, said flatly. So this call is just about settling the score now. She didn't reply, but I could hear the dryness in her voice. She said, you lied to me, so I lied to you. Call it even, but they're my closest friends. They shouldn't be punished just because of what happened between us. I asked, so what do you want to say? She replied, they want to have a meal with you. They'll apologize in person. After that, we'll go our separate ways. You move forward, and we'll do the same. What do you think? I said, sure, send me the time and location. Before I even had time to make a move, they got too restless to wait. So I figured why not handle all of them at once? Save myself the effort of picking them off one by one. Right before I left, Anna called and warned me, it's a setup. They still hate you. They'll try something. I replied casually, it's fine. I want to see exactly how they plan to screw with me. She sighed.
Ow.
Then at least stay on the phone with me. I'm ready to call an ambulance anytime. I said, don't worry. Did you forget I'm a kickboxing expert? Anna chuckled. I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about them. I laughed to kill anyone. I laughed. Relax, they won't die. When I arrived, all 5 of them were already there, like a full family reunion. As soon as they saw me, they stood up nervous, trying to act polite. I walked in, sat right by the door, crossed my arms, and looked around. Well, let's hear it, I said. How do you plan on apologizing? Willow was the first to stand. Hesitant, she said, George, I'm sorry. I admit I hurt you. Shouldn't have trampled on your feelings. I was stunned. Feelings. What was she talking about? I never loved her. I just wanted her body. Then she added, you made me lose my job. I think we're even. Now, right? Ah, so that's what this was really about. Willow used to work at Sue Group. If I hadn't reached out to Anna, I never would have met her. Now she was bitter about the consequences. I stayed quiet, curious to see what else she had planned. She hesitated, then bit her lip and said, but you were with Anna while you were dating me? I'm a victim too. Let's not argue anymore. Rich guys like you just love playing with women's hearts. I'll accept it. After today, we don't see each other again. I chuckled, all right. Next, I tapped the side of my glass. Ooh. Sophia stood up, eyes avoiding mine, her voice full of fake regret and subtle mockery. Sorry I defended my friend, she said coldly. From now on, I'll stay far away from people like you. You're some big shot, so you can forgive me. Right, I didn't respond. She sat down. They sounded like kids reciting forced apologies in school, each one slipping in a little jab. Alicia followed. Shouldn't have called you poor. I was being blind, okay? And Maria, I shouldn't have tried to get Willow to dump you. And finally, Makoto. He sighed and said, Sorry, George. Shouldn't have tried to steal Willow from you. I rubbed my ears and asked, Did a dog chew your vocal cords? Why are you whispering like you're praying to your ancestors? Makoto's face twisted in anger. He looked at Maria, then shouted louder, Sorry. Please forgive my stupidity. I grinned. Great, drink that bottle and apologize again. Maria couldn't hold back anymore. He's allergic to alcohol, she snapped. I raised my brows. Wow, Maria, you sure know a lot about him, huh? Then I sneered if it weren't. For that face of yours that even mosquitoes avoid, you'd have taken his place overseas a long time ago. Silence. Their faces flushed with shame. I turned to Willow and smirked. Oh, you didn't know? I thought you two best friends shared everything. Her expression darkened immediately. I glanced around the table. No one dared speak. At the food, it tasted like garbage. A setup meal, of course. I stood up. The alley outside seems like a better place to say sorry. Line up. Bo, show me some real sincerity. They all looked at one another, stunned, but eventually followed me out. Once we were outside, Makoto made his move. Shouted, What's so special about you, huh? You arrogant bastard. Today I'm going to teach you a lesson for all of us. I didn't even look at him. Calmly, I took off my coat and tossed it over the alley's surveillance camera. Then I cracked my neck, rolled my shoulders, and smiled. That apology back there? Weak? You guys don't know what real pain feels like because none of it hit. You. So whether I go soft or hard, just take it. Before anyone could react, I turned to Willow and gave her 3 sharp slaps. You love pushing blame onto others, right? Fine. I leaned close and said coldly, I hope you have a house full of children, but never know who the father is. Then I stepped right up to Makoto and slapped him across the face so hard his head turned. Look at you, pathetic. You don't? Even deserve to be called a pig. Let me help with that. Greta's face was already puffed up. Next was Sophia, always running her mouth. I slapped her right across it. Laughing, I said, You must be those letters between A and D, I and P, V and N on a keyboard. Why are you always meddling in other people's business? Why don't you go try the flavor of that manure truck passing outside? Did she think I didn't know her dirt? I already had everything compiled ready to hand to the Discipline Inspection Commission. Just like she wanted, she'll be far, far away from me soon. She'll probably celebrate. Hey, then there was Alicia. I turned and smacked her fake nose hard. Has your stomach been acting up lately? To the point you've lost your mind? You're not just blind, you're like a mutt chasing the moon, clueless about what you're doing. I even sent her husband a thoughtful little gift. Let's see how he reacts when he finds out she's been messing around with her own brother. Finally, Maria. She had the nerve to use her student-teacher connection to gossip and stir the pot. I yanked her toward me and slapped her again, and again gave her a real lesson. Here's some advice, I said. It's fine to be empty-headed, but don't let it fill up with water. Makoto tells you to jump, and you don't even ask how high. With that kind of brain, you should swallow a whale to boost your IQ. After that, I stopped being selective. I went at everyone, one by one. By the end, they were all on their knees, begging me for mercy. I clapped my hands and said, Listen, up. Don't think that just because there are a bunch of you, you can go toe-to with me. What I've done to you is already mercy. I've never pretended to be the good guy. I'm not easy to like. I hold grudges. You slap me once, I'll slap you back. Then I'll kick you too. When the law doesn't get the job, then I handle it my way, George's way. By the time I got home, it was late. The lights were still on. That meant my dad was back. Stripped off my coat and sat across from him. For a while, we didn't speak. Finally, he said, "Don't worry. I'll take care of everything from now on. No one insults my son and walks away." I didn't say anything. It just crossed my legs and scrolled through my phone. He looked a little embarrassed and sighed. "I don't ask for much. I just want you to be happy, to be healthy." I looked up at him. "Dad, do you think I'd be healthy today if I hadn't become like this?" I stared him straight in the eye. Before I turned 5, I had both parents around. We had a family, but you just had to chase business dreams. You left behind the stable life and left me alone in our hometown. I paused. Do you even know what my life was like? At school, kids would whisper that my parents gave birth to me, but didn't raise me. After school, I'd do homework, wash rice, steam food, shower, cut vegetables, and look after the younger kids. My aunt constantly belittled me. My uncle just sat there saying nothing. I stopped again. "You sent money?" "Sure." But none of it reached me. One day I saw other kids eating snacks, and I literally drooled. Do you know how disgusting that felt? I sneered. Then, when you finally got successful, you dragged me to the big city. But school, there was a nightmare. I got mocked, bullied, humiliated. My arms and legs were always bruised, but I hid them, because even when I got beaten, I didn't want to be abandoned again. I just wanted my parents. I just wanted my mom and dad. So I toughened up. Learned taekwondo, learned sanchu, hung out with the rough crowd. Not to bully, but to survive. To protect myself. I didn't want you two to worry. I just wanted a whole family again. That so-called elite school you enrolled me in, it was just a miniature underworld. And when I finally learned to fight back, you said, "Don't make trouble. Don't be like them." But did you ever ask me why I had to fight? You thought it was shameful to show up at school? Even told Mom not to go to my parent-teacher meeting, but that time Mom had finally promised to come. First time in 3 years, I was so happy. I never got to see her. You told me she was on a business trip. Only after my midterms did you tell me the truth. She wasn't coming back. How do I forgive you for that? He didn't speak for a long while. His tears fell in silence. I wiped my own face and whispered, "Dad, we both need time to get over this." I stood up to go. Just as I reached the stairs, I heard his tired voice. "But George, I've always loved you. I'm on your side. And from now on, I'll try my best to make it up to you." As I was walking upstairs, I noticed Anna leaning against the pillar. I didn't know how much she'd heard, but it didn't matter, she already knew everything. I looked away and went up to my room. There on my bedside sat our family photo. I collapsed beside it, sobbing. Our George may be cold, calculating, ruthless, but in their eyes, I'll always be their child. And if I had a choice, who wouldn't? Want a quiet, peaceful, beautiful life? Just then my phone buzzed. I pulled out my phone. It was a message from Anna. "Do you want to open the door and fall into my warm embrace?" I replied, "Go away." But in my heart, I wanted to thank her. Without her support through those middle school and high school years, I honestly don't know if I could have become the George I am today. Then Anna texted again. "Remember when we said if neither of us is married by 30, we'll be together? Don't you back out on me, Mr. Man?" Frowned and replied, 3 more years. Wait for me." She answered, "Then I'll be waiting for you to marry me." She's nuts. I pulled out our high school graduation photo. Anna was standing right next to me, throwing up a peace sign while I was there, smiling like an idiot. In my yearbook, she had written, "No matter where you go, I'll be here waiting for you." And my message to her had been, "I don't need anyone waiting, 'cause I'll fly higher and higher." Back then I believed it. The future. Well, I figured we'd leave it to fate. Anna's side story, George, is unlike anyone else I've ever known. He had these fierce, stubborn eyes and a natural kind of pride. Our class was mostly made up of kids from the same elementary school. Tight-knit cliques. The rich stuck together. The poor were left out. We were exposed to all that status garbage, even as kids. When George transferred in, everyone was curious, especially when they found out he was from the countryside. Behind him in class, he always sat so straight like a lone wolf cub, tense, on edge, like he was forcing himself to adapt. Then came the first exam. He ranked first in the entire grade. The next day, I noticed a huge purple bruise on his arm during break. Later, I heard he'd been targeted by the student who had previously been top of the class. That guy by something always dressed sharp and neat. Surprised me. At our school, the privileged had this unspoken rule. If they didn't like you, they made sure you felt it. I worried about George, but he didn't flinch. He stayed calm. To calm for someone only 12, any other kid would have cried, complained to a teacher or a parent, but not him. He just kept sitting tall, and he kept scoring first place in every test. One day I saw him being cornered in the restroom. Just as a punch came at him, he caught the guy's wrist and countered. The whole group froze, but there were too many of them. He was outnumbered. I stepped and called the teacher. That was the first time I ever interfered in something like that. I used to be too scared of being isolated. But when I saw him get hit, my heart ached. He leaned against the wall, getting up and looked at me. "Don't get involved," he said. "They might target you too. I'll get stronger myself." I looked into those clear, sharp eyes. For some reason, my heart raced. Later, I saw him again, this time at a Sanchu class. His eyes were burning with determination. I thought of that moment in the bathroom, of how he'd fought back, and I could see that same fire now. This guy was different. He was unbreakable. From being crushed to punching back with his own 2 hands, he rose so fast, he once told me, "I never start trouble. But I'm not afraid of it. If someone gives me a foot of respect, I'll return a yard. But if they slap me, I'll kick them back." What a fierce little wolf cub. After that, no one dared mess with him again. He earned their respect. Not through fear, but with his strength. But when he entered high school, something changed. He got quieter. He stopped speaking unless necessary. That proud wolf seemed broken, like he had collapsed inside. I found out later his mother had passed away. He didn't have friends. Isolated. Cold. Temper short. But still his grades remained top tier. Whenever a new student, unaware of his past, challenged him, George would shut them down with a single blow. No one dared touch him again. I once asked him, "Why don't you ever smile?" He replied, "I've always felt like the extra piece. Like I didn't belong anywhere. Parents were never home. My uncle and aunt didn't care for me. And when the whole family finally got together, my parents were still too busy. The only one who really loved me, my mom. She died in a car crash." He said it so plainly, like life had always been this cruel. In our high school yearbook, I wrote, "No matter where you go, I'll be here waiting." He smiled and responded, "I don't need anyone to wait. I'll fly higher and higher." It's the George I know. Stubborn, proud, and still deeply alone. One day I took advantage of George being drunk and half-jokingly tested him by saying, "If we're both single by 30, why don't we try being together?" He agreed, drunk and hazy. I secretly recorded it just in case he tried to back out later. I know, I'm a terrible woman. But then one day I saw a post on his social media. He had a girlfriend. I asked him, "Since when do you have a girlfriend?" He said other. Girls were reserved and slow to warm up. But this one, when he gave her a gift and confessed, she accepted right away. He said he'd never met someone so unpretentious. More importantly, she was gentle and cute. Her name was Willow. She worked at Sue Group, and it hit me I was the one who had introduced them. I found out I honestly wanted to die. Then it dawned on me George seemed to like the gentle, sweet kind. So I tried to change. I forced myself to smile more, to soften my voice. Until one day, our maid looked at me nervously and asked, "Miss Sue, are you going to fire me?" I blinked. "What?" she said. "I'm not sure why, but lately, your smile gives me the creeps." I was just trying to be gentle. They said I was creepy. Get it. I, Sue, will never be that kind of woman. So I gave up. At first I thought George was just casually dating Willow. But 1 year passed, an entire year, and I I started hiding near his house at night, watching him come home. Every time, I imagined myself walking next to him. I kept thinking, just turn around, George. I'm right here. But he never did. It hurt more than anything to love someone I could never have. And the more I thought about it, the angrier I became. Then one day he called. He needed my help looking something up. Since he started dating, we hadn't talked much. I asked what was going on. He said nothing, just that he hadn't fought in a while and was itching for action. And in that moment I realized maybe she betrayed him. I was furious. The man I liked was being cheated on. So I sent people to investigate. It rained that day. George called and told me to meet him. I knew he was about to do something. He sat in the car. He looked tired, like the younger version of himself again back in our school days. I knew there were things in his past he didn't want to revisit. I suggested Sue Group could help him out, but he stopped me. I don't meddle in people's business, he said. But if someone crosses me, they'll pay. Don't worry. The fire in his eyes, it was the same George who learned Taekwondo, who practiced Sanshu, who never lowered his head. If the law can't fix it, he said, then I'll handle it my way. Always keep my word. George looked striking that day, all in black, fully geared up. Watching him block the cameras and beat those people up, I felt weirdly relieved. Finally, I thought, he let it all out. Doubt. But after everything, I found him alone, sitting quietly by the river. He just stared into the water, completely still. I knew he must have been thinking about his mother. I wanted to sit beside him, but I also knew right now he wanted silence. So I followed him home instead. I heard everything he said. I already knew his story, but hearing him speak about it, hearing the pain in his own voice, I couldn't breathe. He finally tore down all his walls, exposed the softest, rawest parts of himself, screaming at his father. But I understood. This was him finally letting go. He was starting over. So I said to him, why not open the door? Come stay in my gentle world. He replied, go away, that stubborn wolf pup. Hadn't changed at all. Even if he doesn't accept me now, newts, okay? The world is round. Did the people meant to be together always find each other in the end? So George, for the rest of our lives, please take care of me.